Hey guys, welcome to this next YouTube video. Today we're going to talk about how to fix the chicken wing in your putting stroke. Let's get into the video. So the chicken wing is something that we want to try to avoid, whether that's in the golf swing or in the putting stroke. Reason for that is because when we have a chicken wing, that's going to mean that our lead arm is getting disconnected from our body. Generally what that also means as well is when we putt with our lead arm disconnection, that's going to end up forcing the putter out on the right side, and it's going to make it hard for us to release that putter head. Okay, we obviously want that putter head to work on that natural arc and that natural path through the ball and allow that face to open on the way back, close on the way through. But if I have that lead arm disconnection through the ball, that's then going to prevent me from allowing to rotate the face. Okay, that's going to generally cause more of a push. As you can see, if I was putting here and I come on the way back and then I lead arm disconnect, it just pushes everything out onto the right side. So that's obviously something we want to try to prevent. Okay, generally as well, if we're going to be lead arm disconnecting on the way through, that's then going to mean that in order to square that face up, we're going to have to use our wrists. As you can see there, when I start to flick my wrist, that then can get that face squaring up. So just show you from this view, if I lead arm disconnect, I'm generally going to have to add in some lead wrist extension. Okay, that's just going to get that face back on the path. Okay, and will give us some sort of chance of trying to rotate the face on the way through and trying to square the face up. But there's obviously two things that we really want to try and avoid. We want to, obviously, this is the root cause, we want to try and avoid that. But then if we do this, then we're going to then flick the wrist. So it's going to be very hard to manage both things and to do both things consistently and repeat the exact same movement. It's obviously going to be far easier to repeat a movement more that's like this, with our lead arm connected and our lead wrist staying the same structure, instead of going this way. So generally, if you struggle with more of a push, then I'd definitely take a look at this lead side. Okay, because we want to just allow our lead side just to rotate around our body. We want to make sure that we're allowing that lead side just to work just like this. That's then going to allow that putter to follow the natural arc, follow the natural path, and allow that face to close on the way through, which then should allow us to square the face up in time when it comes to the impact position. So there's two ways in which we can fix this issue, okay? Firstly is by getting some sort of stick or even using your top and just to tuck something underneath your lead arm. So whether that's the stick or whether you just get a little piece of your top and just tuck that in. And we want to try and hold this in throughout the whole stroke, okay? Because if we can keep this lead arm connected, that's then going to mean that our lead armpit's going to be keeping this stick under control and keeping it tucked in. So getting used to rolling putts with something under the lead arm will really allow you just to feel far more connected on the way through. And then will also allow for that face just to naturally rotate also on the way through. As if I was going to do this drill incorrectly, what we could do is end up having this chicken wing through the putt, and that could actually cause the stick to fall out the side of your armpit, or for your top just to come loose. So if you lose that connection, that's generally going to mean because we're again getting that chicken wing and we're causing some lead arm disconnection. So that's drill number one, which I feel like could really help you out with that lead arm disconnection. The next drill, which I feel like can also help you out more, and I recommend switching in between these two drills because they both have their different benefits, is all I want you to do is to only grip it with your left hand and to hold your lead elbow in with your right hand. Okay, so we're just going to be like this. Okay, that's then obviously if we can stroke and keep this right elbow in and keep this right arm in, obviously then we're not going to be persuaded into moving more like this. Okay, as we're going to be holding ourselves in. That's then going to allow ourselves to pivot nicely through the putt, as you can see there, and to prevent that lead arm from disconnecting. What this drill is also really good for is generally when someone has lead arm disconnection, what happens is they generally come through the stroke too quick, and that then causes this lead arm to be disconnected naturally, just because there's so much momentum going through the ball that this is being caused. So actually having and hitting one-handed putts while keeping this in is going to really allow us just to be much smoother through impact, which is definitely key when it comes to them longer putts as well, as we're just going to be keeping the weight more in the head. We really don't want to be going more quick and disconnected through the putt. That's going to take a lot of the feel out of our putts and make it hard for us to judge distance control. So in order to master this, we really want to make sure that not only do we want to stop that lead arm disconnection, but a good way to prevent the lead arm disconnection is to be a little bit softer through the putt. Okay, building up more power on the way back and then being a little bit softer through the ball. That's going to stop the momentum from taking this lead arm away from the body. So just getting used to hitting putts with this lead arm tucked in, but hitting one-handed putts and holding in my left elbow with my right hand is really just going to allow me to feel much smoother through the putt. As you can see there, I've got a nice constant flow to my stroke. That's going to really stop that lead arm from becoming disconnected. So you can see with both of them drills, whether it's having this stick tucked in or whether it's having this lead arm tucked in and holding in my left elbow with my right hand, you can see that what these both prevent is they obviously both allow this lead arm to stay connected, but they also prevent the wrist from adding in too much lead wrist extension. As what we would tend to see when someone has lead arm disconnection is they're going to add in some lead wrist extension as well, and it gets a little bit messy like this just because they're trying to square the face up. So when you're doing these drills, just focus on trying to make sure that the structure of this wrist is the same throughout the whole stroke. We don't want to be adding too much extension of the wrist, and we don't want to be adding flexion of the wrist. Okay, we want to make sure that not only is our lead arm staying tucked in, but also our lead wrist is staying within that same structure and it's not extending or flexing through the stroke. As if I have too much extension or flexion, what that can do is that can really mess up the face rotation and prevent the face from matching to your path. That's obviously going to make everything difficult. As it's the same if you was going to hit a full shot, if your face to path isn't correct, it's going to make it hard for you to hit it straight. Okay, because both them numbers need to match up or at least be in sync with each other. So it's the same with the putting. If the face to path isn't matching up because the wrist is getting too involved, then obviously that's going to make it hard for you to hit a straight putt. So when you're doing these drills, just really focus on keeping that wrist the exact same. You can see that allows this putter to work very naturally around my body, and you can see my lead wrist there isn't actually moving at all. It's staying in that same structure. It's nice and locked in. That's then just going to give me the best possible opportunity just to strike the ball and just to put a really nice roll on it. And then as well, have a nice smooth timing for impact, which we all know is very important. We don't want to be going slow on the way back, quick and extended, and lead arm disconnecting on the way through. As you can see, there's no control in that at all. With the quick forward stroke, with the lead arm disconnection, and then with the lead wrist extension as well. You can see this looks far more balanced, neutral and controlled, and that's what we want to go for. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Obviously there's two drills there just to get cracking with, just to try and stop lead arm disconnection, and then as a result lead wrist extension. Both things can be detrimental to your putting, so just making sure that we do both of them drills is just going to work on both them things. And also, as I said, as a byproduct of that, it should then work on your tempo through impact, which is probably the be all and end all in putting. We want to make sure that our tempo is on point. That's one thing that you'll notice with all the guys that are on the tours, is their tempo is going to be very dialed in. No one's going to be too rushed, no one's going to be too slow, no one's going to have that putt where they decelerate or accelerate a lot. They're all going to be having that nice and controlled tempo. It's going to be there or thereabouts where it needs to be. And in order to ensure that that's you just need to make sure that you're keeping your body parts under control. As adding in that chicken wing and that wrist is quite an accelerated move, and it's quite an uncontrolled move. So if I flick out or I flick the wrist, you can see how that's going to add speed to the putter head, which we really don't want. We want to keep everything nice and controlled. That's then going to really allow for that putter to come through the ball nice and smooth, and then for our tempo to be dialed in as well. So give them two drills a go. Toe stick under the armpit, lead arm tucked in with the right hand, and then go from there and really just work at both them drills, and hopefully you have a far more controlled stroke come the end of it. If you can like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you next week with the next video. And if there's any suggestions or videos that you'd like, please drop a comment in the comment section below, and I'll have a look, and I'll get cracking with that next video for you. So thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.